Hey fellow heathens, this is Liz again, and I'm super excited to bring you a comparison video of the Revival Art Tarot and the Revival Art Tarot 2nd edition. So it's actually a completely different deck, and I just wanted to do like a little comparison video and maybe a little fun which one wore it better type of challenge. So for card, which one do I feel I resonate with more? So before we get started, I just loved the art so much of the Revival Art Tarot. This is a kind of a flimsy tuck box, but Taroko Studios does an excellent job of their cardstock. It's beautiful. It's shuffleable, but it's got a really strong, sturdy feel to it. It's a lovely matte finish. And the same can be said for the 2nd edition, but we'll get into maybe a little bit of difference there in a moment. Here's the backs, and this is actually one of the cards in their Lenormand deck, this cute little girl as the child. So I haven't purchased that one yet, but it's definitely on my wish list. Here is the back for the 2nd edition. It's also lovely, completely reversible, as you can see. This one has a border to it. And that's probably one of the main differences that you can see is the title. Let's go ahead and zoom in here for a moment. We'll talk about the guidebook in just a second. So the title, as you can see, is larger. The font is larger, and the font is a lot smaller on the second one with quite a bit of ornate embellishment around this little banner title here. And I had to put my 1st edition in order, and I have to say that it was extremely easy to do that because, as you can see, all of the numbers are at the top. So I went through and I did my usual 5 piles of minor arcana and my major arcana. My dog, his name is Rambo, he's eating, so if you can hear his collar jangling against the food bowl and eating, I apologize for that. And then, so it was really super easy to kind of organize that. But this one, I imagine, is going to be a little bit more challenging because the number is right above the title. So before we get started, I just wanted to talk about the box. It's let's zoom out a little bit more. It's a standard tuck box. It's a little bit flimsy. I do have really pretty bags from Thailand that I will be putting these in, and I'm really enjoying that. So the guidebook for the 1st edition is, like, I know a lot of the reviews, I mean, can you read that? The words are really, really tiny, but they're all in all caps, which makes it extremely difficult to read and look at, actually. And none of the artwork is actually referenced in the guidebook. So that was really unfortunate because I couldn't actually find out any more about the painting if I wanted to. But the 2nd edition, thank goodness they corrected that. Beautiful little, little white book, if you will. But it does give you the title of the painting there, and that's really cool. And the font has been changed. It's a little bit bigger, so that's really good. Something I can actually read, but it will give you just a couple of keywords, and that'll be that. So if you wanted to know more about each card, then I would recommend that for beginners. I wouldn't recommend actually either of these decks for beginners because of the fact that you kind of have to know the meaning of the card before you go into it, because it doesn't show 8 wands. It will depict the energy of the 8 wands, so to speak. So let the challenge begin. Zoom in here a little bit more so you can see. So the 2nd edition has 4 extra cards, and that is due to the fact that they added the princess of each court. So you have your princess, your page, your knight, your queen, and your king. And in the first edition, you have, or the standard revival art, you have your standard 4 court people: page, knight, queen, and king. So if we were to look at the thickness, I would have to say it's pretty similar. If anything, the second edition is just slightly thinner. And the reason I say that is because if there are 4 extra cards and I kind of bump them together, so we have 1 that slides over, 2 that slide over, and that's it. And they pretty much match up at that point. So for 4 extra cards to have 2 slide over kind of tells me that it's just maybe 10 GSM thinner. It's not much. The cardstock is still extremely lovely. I feel it will last a long time. Beautiful to photograph. The images are crisp and clear, with the exception of 1 in the second edition, but had to have it. It's just a stunning deck. So let's see which one I like better and see which one resonates with you. So here we have the Fool and the Fool. We definitely have our Jester, imagery here. I would say that I like this Fool better because of the fact that, he's kind of like often dreaming while there's something in someone going on in the background. He could be making a connection, but chooses to kind of be in his own little world instead of interacting. So they both have that same childlike energy, carefree energy, but I say that this Fool is the winner. I also wanted to point out the border has been expanded on the second edition. This beautiful little thin ornate border kind of still gives you that portrait feel, but this one kind of closes in on the image a little bit more, although it does still have that borderless feel to the card. And I do appreciate the the element of picturesque portraiture, I suppose. So I do like that, but I kind of wish that they had brought it closer to the edge a little bit more so it wouldn't close in on the image as much as it does. So that's one criticism I have there. And the small font. So this Fool wins. So I'm going to separate that. And then we have our Magician here. So let's see. So we have this Magician looking at his vial, and this Magician kind of burning the midnight oil in his quest of manifestation and just creating with all of the resources that he has on hand. I would say that I do like this one better because he's not playing around. He's well underway in creating his dreams. So we have our High Priestess. They're both lovely, beautiful High Priestess cards. This one definitely has that feeling of going inward and the darkness around her, like listening to her intuition. Maybe there's a spark of intuition there that she has to contemplate. So I love that about this card. And this High Priestess card, she's lovely and beautiful, and she's looking upward towards the heavens. If I had to choose, I would say that I like this one better for the High Priestess. And our Empress card here, beautiful. We have 2 women totally consumed and overwhelmed by the number of children. I do resonate more with the energy of this card because, I couldn't imagine having 5 babies to care for. I do have 2 of my own, and it was a challenge in their younger years. So I do resonate with her, kind of like she's nurturing and she's doing what she has to do, but she's also overwhelmed by the task at hand of nourishing and nurturing these babies. Here we have our Emperor cards. I love this one. This one wins out for me because his demeanor is like you have that sword here, and this emperor does have the sword as well, and they're both kind of looking upward to the heavens, and whatever power that they have, they're channeling a higher power into their decision making. And but I just think that he's got that energy of am I doing this right? You know, he's got the world in his hands. So I definitely like the feel of this Emperor card better. Here we have our Hierophant. I'm going with this one. Just we have our supplicant here versus just the lone Hierophant. And I like the teaching and the learning that's happening here. Our Lovers, I definitely am going with this one. I have to say that in this deck, I feel that the Lovers and the Two of Cups could have been and should have been reversed. And when I get there, I will show that to you. But I love the beautiful, innocent energy of the Lovers here, and they're just enjoying each other's company. And I feel like they're together and they've already made the decision, but she feels a little bit more resigned, and it's almost like because he's pointing to the book, it feels more like transactional, and like a discussion is happening over something other than love. So I definitely am going with this one. I'm going to put that one aside. So here we have our Chariot. I've always kind of felt that this card didn't really go with the rest of the deck. I feel like it's a more modern picture, and I obviously could be wrong, but it feels more like Anne of Green Gables to me, as opposed to revival art. But of course, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just the feeling that I get, and I definitely feel that force of will here, and I'm not opposed to seeing his rippling muscles. I'm just going to say that right now. And I definitely like this one a little bit better for our Chariot. Here we have our Strength card. Going with this one, we have that traditional lion here, and I like that. But this goat or whatever ram, I'm not sure what that is charging at her, and she's just like, yeah, whatever, you can stop right there. And she's got a kind of a playful look on her face, and I definitely get that feeling of strength and taming that inner lion here. And while you could say that too, that the energy is a bit off for me for the Strength card, so I'm going with that one. And we have our Hermit card. I am going to go with this one because I like the fact that he is, you get that cave, that inner dwelling a little bit more, but I like the fact that it's zoomed out a little bit and you can see more of what he's been working on, and in the distance it feels like there's some stormy seas, so he's definitely retreated himself into some cave where he can really go inside and connect with himself, his higher self, and a higher power as well. And I guess I just like the look of this one a little bit better than this one. So first we have our original revival art in the lead for now. Here we have, this one has been renamed to Fortune and the Wheel. I like the wheel because it definitely shows the wheel here, like the spinning wheel. But for me, the Fortune is about the giving and the taking away of blessings and resources, like the ups and downs of life, giving something away. So she's taking and she's giving. So you have the tumultuousness of life, basically, and I really do enjoy that about this card. This one was a hard one, and I'm not sure I can choose because I was struck by this Justice, and her demeanor was like, stop right there. Thou shalt not pass, that type of feeling. She's not going to take, she knows that you've done something wrong, and she challenges you to come to terms with that. So I really love that confrontational energy here of this Justice card. But this Justice is also stunning, and we have our scales, and it's very pagan otherworlds to me. The coloration, I guess you could say, of that card. So I'm gonna have to call it a tie on this one because I do love them both. So I'm gonna put them both off to the side here. Now we have our Hanged Man. Look how clear this image is. It's so beautiful, and we have both depictions of Jesus Christ here. This one he's being flogged, and this one he's already died on the cross. I feel like this one, in both you get that feeling of he's resolved to his fate in both images. But this one, it's done, and now the work of changing your perspective on life has begun. This one is still a lot of pain and turmoil left to undergo. This one, it's complete, and so I'm going to go with this one. We have our Death cards, and here we have our flying angel, and he's uncovering the veil on this woman, and she's lifting the mask off another woman. So to me, it's a little bit confusing as to what's going on. I mean, I get it. I get the scythe, I get that. But this one has the angel of death. On the one hand, she's got her, like, the light coming in for the afterlife. And here we have our death side. And if you can see, his hands are very thin, like he hasn't eaten in a long time. Look how sunken his eyes are. So underneath that armor, he's wasting away, and he's ready to go. He's done. So, and he's calling, the transition here. You definitely feel that from darkness to light. So I'm going with this one. Our Temperance card. They're both quite beautiful. Here we have two containers of water, and here I feel like we only have one, if I'm not mistaken. And I do like that she's in between the two pots of water, so you can kind of get that feel of going the middle way. And this one, she looks really sad, and she's filling her water up, but I feel like this one gets at the message a little bit clearer than this one does. So here we have our Devil card, and they're both quite beautiful, and you can see like the hoofed foot, and you can see that on the one side he looks benign, but underneath it all he's not, and you have that Pan feel with the flute. I'm not sure which one I like, but I love that there's an image, a ghostly image, speaking to her. It's almost like he isn't really there, he's in her mind. So I'm gonna go with this one because I like that it's kind of vague as opposed to more tangible, the devil appearing to you. It could be in the way of breaking a pattern of beliefs that no longer serve you, and that could come from within. So I definitely like this one better. The Tower. Very cool. Both of these have that, like, you can see like the whole city is crumbling and the gods are showing their wrath. But I feel like this one has the lightning bolts, and you see that toppling here, and you have a little bit more of a close-up depiction of the chaos and destruction that's happening in the fire. And you get that fire here, but this one's a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to go with this Tower. The Star. They're both quite beautiful. I do like the fact that there's an actual star right there, and I love the flowing robes, so I'm gonna go with this star. I don't see a star here. I do see her foot in the water. You might be able to make out a star at the very bottom, but I like the clarity of the star here on the second edition. You see that water here as well. The Moon. They're both quite beautiful. I like the look of her kind of wondering, and there's more of a dreamlike feel to this card. And you know, she's got her rose, she's got her books, and she's looking up at the moon. It's a full moon, which is pretty cool. It's like right in the corner of the border too. But I'm gonna have to say I like this one better, although they're both quite beautiful. You have the reflection here as well, but I think this one wins. The sun. Now you have your babies, and here we at the very corner of the card you have that sun emanating. There's no real sun coming from this one, but I feel the jubilation and the freedom and the openness and childlike playfulness of this card a little bit more than this one. This one feels a little bit more subdued, and it's happy for sure, but you know, it's a subdued happy versus a jubilant happy. So I'm going with this one. And Judgment. You definitely both get that feel here with the angels coming down from the sky, but I feel like this darkness, it depicts the light a little bit more than this card. This card feels a little bit more chaotic, and I feel like, you know, this shepherd is coming to terms with whatever is coming down from the sky amidst the clouds and the darkness here. So I'm going with just this Judgment. Here we have the World. Both quite beautiful. I love the colors in this card, but I think I'm going to go with this one because you have the multiple individuals blowing the conch shells. It's kind of like a calling to a release and a fulfillment there of it, like an ending kind of. You've done it. You've completed your task. And I don't particularly get that. I feel, you know, the freedom here, but I get that, the finality of the world here in this card. Now I will say that I do like the aces. So we have our Ace of Swords here. I like the aces better in the second edition. The aces, and I'll show you that at the end. The aces in this deck are just kind of depictions of you know, kingly treasures, and while that's pretty cool, I don't know, maybe it's the lighting or the coloration that I don't particularly like, but I do love the angels. You'll see angels in all of the aces here, so I am going to go with this Ace of Swords. You have like your Cupid arrows here. And we have our Two of Swords, and this Two of Swords is in my Angel Blessings Oracle deck that I love, and I think this is the same person being depicted here with the two angels speaking on either side of her ears. So here she's kind of blocking it out, and here, you know, she's really almost torn between the two. So I'm going to go with this one. And this one is actually quite bright in the deck. Three of Swords, you definitely get that feeling of sadness and possible betrayal, and the heart has been wounded. But I really like the look of this one, you know, her slumped over body, and this little angel is crying. You could get the feel like she's almost like malnourished, or she's definitely sad, but it could be a few other things. You know, maybe she's just exhausted. So I like this Three of Swords much better. Four of Swords. I'm gonna go with this one because you have that taking a break to contemplate your next move, you know, going within, and taking a rest. And this is much more traditional. You have your knight taking a break after a battle. You have that darkness here, so now he's definitely at rest, but could he be dead? You know, I like the fact that it's not quite over yet in this Four of Swords. Five of Swords, deceit, and, you know, taking advantage of another to benefit yourself. And you definitely get that with both of these. Like she just heard a wild, you know, piece of information that she's going to run off and use as gossip, and she's like, no, don't do that. So I appreciate that. But this one, it's almost like maybe his son, you know, has betrayed the father, and now he's coming back because he's lost everything. You know that story with the sons and the father, and he always has his door open to them. And now he's like, he's welcoming him back, or he said, how can you do that to me? So it's almost like he took advantage of the old man, and now he's come back to make amends for his deception. So I like this one better. Six of Swords, we have our leaving in a boat. I like this one better because you have the moon and there's fewer people. It's a little more open, and this one you have like an entire almost caravan of people taking off somewhere, but in the distance you can see that there are calmer waters here where there are choppier waters here. So this Six of Swords for me wins. Seven of Swords. I get the feeling more from this of almost like a theft going on here, because they're both reaching for the same woman. And this one, I don't see it as clearly. They could be discussing something, you know, in between them you have your little cherub. So, but I definitely feel that there's a taking happening here, whereas I don't see that happening here. Oh, when I first saw this card, it took my breath away. It's stunning, and the clarity, I mean, look, I mean, great job, Taroko Studios. I mean, stunning. There's not one bit of pixelation or blurriness, completely clear, almost like, you know, I don't think we're not just tarot collectors. We are art collectors, and that's really how I feel about every deck in my collection. I have an entire collection of art in those 78 plus cards. So we have that sense of entrapment here. You can see the waters rising at her bed, at the foot of her bed, and she doesn't know what she's going to do. But here you have, I feel, more of a questioning of your path forward in this card. You know, like she's in the she's maybe a new nun and in the convent, and she's not sure if that's her right place, and you know, did she make a good decision? And so she's looking off into the distance, wondering where, you know. So this is more of an internal struggle, I feel, as opposed to this being a literal struggle. So I'm definitely going with this one for the Eight of Swords. Nine of Swords, I don't know if you can see this. It is so cool. Like, look in the background. Can you see that reflection right there? Or that apparition? You know, you definitely get that nightmarish feel in this Nine of Swords, whereas in this Nine of Swords, you know, you see like the arrows and the swords and behind this gate, and they're knocking, let us in, and they don't know what to do. Maybe they're protecting a prisoner or something, kind of like in The Sound of Music. And so I like that too, you know. But I feel like this one definitely gets at that inner struggle, that, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? So I definitely feel this one as an internal struggle, and that's kind of why I like the Eight of Swords. So I'm going with this one for the 9, but this one is stunning as well. 10 of Swords. This is definitely final. There's no coming back from that. So this one, there's still hope. He hasn't cast the final blow quite yet. And, you know, wow, like, what's going on here? I mean, gosh, it leaves so much for interpretation. You know, like his face is like, hey, I see something in the distance that might help, you know. And there's just so much struggle happening there, and there's still hope yet. So I'm going with that one. Although this, of course, I could say that about every card. It's beautiful, stunning. Kudos, Taroko Studios. Okay, so here we are with our first extra card here, Princess of Swords. I see a stick. I'm not really sure how that, you know, goes with the Princess of Swords, but what I'm getting from the guidebook, that the princesses are more like the idea of that suit, like almost like an ace of the courts. So it's like the inception has come, like you just got that idea, whereas the page you begin to work on that idea. So if we look at the let's find the swords here, and we have our Princess of Swords, the Shepherdess. Curiosity, conversation, clear words, self-expression, all talk and no action, haphazard action. So yeah, it's kind of like the initial putt-putt stages of that idea or that suit, of that suit. So I'm not really going to, you know, give this a point because it wouldn't be a fair call on that. But it's very pretty. Make of that what you will. So here we have our Page of Swords versus Page of Swords. I like that he's in the act of teaching this dog new tricks, this old dog new tricks. We have almost like our witch's broom here. But here I feel like he's got a more determined look about him, and he's ready. He's already made the decision. And I feel like a lot of the pages in this new deck are, they almost look like the same individual, the same young boy, or girl, I suppose. So it's kind of cool that you see that, except for, I believe, the last suit of Pentacles. All of the three pages of Swords, Cups, and Wands look like the same individual, which is kind of cool. So I'm going with this Page of Swords. Knight of Swords. They both look really cool. I feel like he reminds me of an actor, and I can't place it. I guess I'm gonna go with this Knight of Swords as my favorite. Queen of Swords. She looks very, you know, in mourning or something with all black on, and I'm sure that's what that was for. And this Queen of Swords, I just, like, you can almost feel the material of her dress. It's just got that shine to it. She looks determined. She's holding her sword, so I'm going with this one. King of Swords, definitely going with this king. I don't care for the colonial hair because we all know what's really hiding underneath all of those wigs. So I'm gonna go with this King of Swords. So again, we have the depiction of, you know, the suit of, here's your wand, but you have your kingly crown and other beautiful, wonderful things. And here we have our Ace of Wands as being depicted by angels, and I like that better. Even though you don't see the wand, I feel like there's movement happening there as well. Two of Wands. Both of these are contemplating. You get that forward movement or that distance here, but I like the look of this one a lot better. So I'm going with this one. This one looks more contemplative. This one is like trying to look out into her future. Three of Wands. I'm not sure about this one. You know, I suppose that you'd be making steps towards your goal. Like, you know, this poor donkey is going uphill carrying a burden, so you're making steps in the right direction. But I feel like this one, although it's a very famous portrait, has that sense of like, you know, I've climbed the mountain, and now I'm going to just let the universe kind of help me out here in my next steps. Four of Wands. I feel the celebration here a little bit more. You have that here, you know, she's putting on her veil, happening there, and definitely celebration coming together is happening, but I like the jubilation here in the four. Five of Wands. I'm going with this one because you've got that playful, you know, and these kids being kids and they're annoying each other and, you know, competing with each other for attention. And you have a friendly card game and you definitely get that competitive spirit here, but I like this one, the energy of this five better. You have your Six of Wands. You have the laurel wreath here, and you definitely get the feeling of coming in from, you know, accomplishing something perhaps from a battle. I feel like this one is a tough one because you get, you know, she's holding her tambourine and they're coming in, but I don't know, I guess because he's an adult male versus a child, I feel like the accomplishment is more apparent here than in here. Seven of Wands. This one, to me, like he's fought off the lion and he's chosen the lamb. And now he's looking at God saying, is this what you want? Did I do good? Did I do good? You know, did I please you? So, you know, he's definitely fought off his foe, but there's something about his gaze that almost, it appeals to me as far as, you know, asking yourself, what was the reason behind the fight in the first place? And in this Seven of Wands, you know, you have these people pleading with him. I'm not sure about this, like, strong little guy right here. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on there. You know, he's definitely, like taking off, and they're begging him to stay or something like that. So he's definitely fighting some external force as well, but this one is, it makes me think more about motivations versus this one. Eight of Wands. In both we have the movement here. I feel more of that free-flowing energy. There's less stress in this one, and this one's more determined. You know, so they're both quite beautiful, but I get that feeling of like messages and things are happening more in this card than this one. Although, you know, there's no wings, so you could definitely get the feel that this could resemble almost an ace, but I like the movement here a little bit more. Your Nine of Wands. I feel like, you know, there's almost like some graffiti behind this guy, but he looks a little bit more battle worn than this guy does. He looks like he's just taking like a quick cigarette break and he's off and running again. This one, it feels like, you know, he's like, all right, are we done? Can we be done now? So he's done the work, and he's still ready to pick up the fight if he has to, but he's his defense here, his demeanor is a little bit more tired than this one. So I'm going with this one. I'm not quite sure what to make of this card. Like, what is that? Is that a puppy? Like, what's going on? Ten of Wands. He's tired. He's taking a nap, and he looks like, you know, he's been looking for food. He looks quite poor. You know, so but what has he achieved? Like, you know, the 10 is about acquiring, and now what are you going to do with what you've done, with what you've gotten in your life? What are you going to do with it? And I get that feeling of that she's definitely got a burden and she's still moving forward. But this one, it kind of feels almost defeated in a way, like the burden has overcome and taken him over, whereas this one still has more energy, and she's got something to show for her effort. So I'm going with this one. And again, we have a Princess of Wands. Here we have her little staff. She definitely looks determined. She's taking a moment to contemplate, which is cool. So very beautiful, but we're not going to be casting a vote for that one. Again, do you know what I mean? Like, he kind of looks like that same page. Page of Wands, very cute. You know, he's got his little flute there, or clarinet. And he's like, yeah, really? You gonna mess with me? So I'm going with this page. We have our Knight of Wands. Can I just tell you, like, notice anything strange about this card? Like, strange? Like, what is going on with that horse's eye? Is that, like, a signature of the artist? Please tell me, because I don't know, and it's freaking me out. It's almost like cartoon, but not cartoon. Like Roger Rabbit type, you know. I want to go with this one. I don't know if I care for this guy. He's too ornate. So I guess I'll go with this regardless of the massive horse eye. Queen of Wands. She's totally embellished with all her pearls. We have almost our wand here. I like her better. I like the look of her, you know, attire. I like the card colors a little bit more. So I'm going to go with this queen. They both do still look a little reserved, but at the same time you can see a little bit of cleavage which kind of harkens back to the sexuality of the Queen of Wands. King of Wands. Oh, killing me with the hair. I guess I'm gonna have to say I like this king better with his stare. You know, he's very confident and capable. So I guess I'll go with this guy. Ace of Cups. Very gold, you know, lush, elegant, luxurious. The trappings of wealth, I suppose, and this Ace of Cups is just stunning, just beautiful. I'm going with this one, no question. Here we are. So here's our Two of Cups. Now here, I'm gonna bring it back. I'm just gonna lay this here. This is our Lover's card from the second edition and our Two of Cups. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Wouldn't you say that this one kind of feels more like the Lovers than this one? The Two of Cups is almost like a meeting of the minds, and it doesn't necessarily have to be lovers, I suppose, in the Two of Cups, and this one feels more lover like, you know, with the way he's got her around the waist and offering her flowers. This one feels like they're talking a little bit more. So Two of Cups. I mean, I still do like this card, and it's still, you know, I guess you could look at it as a love card, but I'm gonna go with this one. Although I do love it, I just wish it was switched. Three of Cups. You have that jubilant energy in both cards. The colors in this one is stunning. But I feel like because it's almost like a gang of girls here, and they're off to do their girly thing. They don't need anybody else. This one's turned away, so I'm going to go with this one. You have the tambourine in both of them, so it's really up to you which one you like better. Four of Cups. Definitely going with this one because, you know, this man has this vista of beauty behind him. And he's got this young boy talking to him, and, you know, he could choose to engage and interact with what's happening in the now, but he's kind of reserved and detached a little bit from his present moment. And that kind of depicts to me that in the, you know, taking a moment to just kind of sit with your emotions and to the exclusion of all else. And but it also could be choosing to not see, also like an apathy card. So whichever way you look at it, I feel like you could draw that from this one. This one looks like this girl, she's got her little carpet bag and she's, you know, waiting for the train, and perhaps the train is late or didn't come, and then you have this guy offering her something, whether it is good or bad. She's got to choose whether to listen to, you know, like the cloud, or the hand carrying the cup from the clouds, and the Four of Cups. That's kind of like what's coming in from both of these figures here. But I definitely think this one depicts the Four better. Five of Cups. This is the maiden with the anchor, I think. I don't think that's the first word. Let's see, what's it called? Five of Cups. Nymph with anchor by Italian school. Broken marriage, vain regret, sorrow, loss, return, summon, hope. As reversed. This one definitely depicts that sense of loss here a little bit more. This feels that it could be almost like a Six of Swords, you know, moving away from something painful. So this one she's sitting. This one there's movement, so I'm going with this one. Six of Cups. Both of these have an older woman and a younger girl playing, but this one has that sense of joy and optimism, whereas this one's like, oh, I haven't seen that dolly in 50 years, you know. So it's still a lovely image, but I just like the feel of the, you know, her clothes and her hair and the flowers in her hair. I mean, I guess you could interpret it like a, you know, Hansel and Gretel story too, with the cave, but I get that sense of nostalgia and innocence here a little bit more. I guess it comes down to aesthetics for a lot of it. Seven of Cups, I definitely feel that this one depicts it a little bit more, and this one is just stunning as far as its imagery. So you have that illusion here, you know, she's making an offering to a god that's not even a god at the bow of a ship, or the front of the ship, whatever it's called. And this one you have, you know, multiple images that he's contemplating that aren't really there, and he has to make a decision. But I'm going to go with this one strictly for the appeal of aesthetics. Eight of Cups, definitely this one. You have almost like a running away. An Eight of Cups, you know, it is an Eight of Cups feeling, but this one depicts what you're actually leaving behind. It's a, you know, your choice. You're not escaping. It's a choice to leave behind what you love, you know, because he's holding their hand, and, you know, he's like, I'm consciously making this decision. I'm not escaping because, you know, out of passion or whatever it is, you know. So I'm going with this one. Nine of Cups, you get that feel, you know, you get all the bottles and the oak barrels in this one, but his face is just, in his, you know, rotund body, and he's like, yeah, I know it's not the healthiest thing in the world, but I'm happy. So whatever it is that he's drinking, he's happy with the life choices he's made up until that point. So I'm going to go with this Nine of Cups. Ten of Cups. Going with this one. You have that zoomed in feel of the family, and this one, you know, it has that too, but could be almost like Ten of Pentacles as well, but this one gets the feeling of the connection that they've made as a family, more so. Again, Princess of Cups, she looks really sad or mad, so I'm not sure, and here's a goat. It feels like it's not alive anymore. She does look a little ragged. So I'm not sure how I feel about the card. The colors are beautiful. It's a beautiful image, but I'm not sure about the essence of the meaning. Let's see what it says. Princess of Cups. Princess. Fillet. I'm not even going to try. Creative opportunities, intuitive messages, new ideas, doubting intuition, creative blocks. And this is the only one in the deck that I feel is a little bit is blurry. You can kind of feel it. It's not as crisp of an image as the other ones, but it's still, it looks like that same kid that we've seen as the page in the other two suits. I gotta go with this one though. Like, I love the look on his face, like he's delivering flowers, and he's like, this one's for you. I think you could use it. So I definitely am gonna go with him. Although he does look very romantic, I'm preferring his little face. Knight of Cups. He's not riding anything. And I kind of like my knights on horses or some kind of animal, depending on the deck. So I'm going to go with this one. And he's like riding something. So, you know, that doesn't feel like very romantic to me. Or maybe he's writing a love letter. Who knows? Could be. How I love the Let Me Count the Ways. Queen of Cups. Although she's very stunning, I don't know, I like that she's holding a cup and she's very open, like she's almost like covering her chest where her heart would be. Maybe she's connecting or, you know, holding her beautiful hair, but I feel like just the openness of her chest kind of depicts like a loving energy to me. She looks a little bit more reserved, so I'm going to go with this queen. I know you're probably like, why? But that's what I'm going to choose. King of Cups. Let me ask you which one you think I'm going to choose. Here. This guy. Going with this guy. He's holding his cup. He looks very open and warm and inviting. So this one. We have our Ace of Coins. We have our shield here. Gold shield for our Ace of Coins in the first one. Ace of Coins. Beautiful. Going with this one. For sure. Oh, show. Two of Coins, both are balancing. I kind of like the look of her with the two over her shoulder, as opposed to walking side by side with almost like a circle that she's carrying, so I like this one better. Three of Coins, you have the work here going on and the individual or individuals assessing that work. I like the look of this one a little bit better. It's almost like she's asking for her paintbrushes. I'm not sure what that could mean, but she's in the middle of creating something and is being judged for it. And this guy's holding his little, like, you know, he's holding his glasses back and looking at his piece of paper. Like, when do you think you'll be done? So I'm going to go with this one for aesthetics. They both deliver the meaning. Four of Coins, going with this guy. I love the way he's looking at you. It's kind of like he's about to tell you a long story of how he acquired his riches and what it means to him, and he's going to impart some worldly advice upon you. This guy's kind of just looking at his gold, and this one feels more interactive. So going with this Scrooge. I wouldn't say he's a Scrooge, you know. He might be giving you the money. Five of Coins. I love the look of this more than this one, but you have that light coming in from possibly that church, or, you know, you have the snow here. There's not really much snow happening in this card. She definitely feels like she's ousted because there's like people in the background and she's held back and looking off in the distance. But this one is there's definitely a longing here to go inside, but they feel like they can't. So I'm going with this one. Oops. Okay. Six of Coins, we have our giving and our taking, our charity here. I feel like this is a very famous portrait. Saint. Shoot, I'm not gonna get it right. So I'm not even gonna say it. She's a famous saint for giving to the poor. You definitely get that, you know, this little girl's handing the grandpa, you know, a bowl of soup. Maybe he's sick or something. But I like that give and take here of this image a little bit more. Seven of Coins. I'm going with this one because she's more sitting back and looking at the garden that she's created, and he's kind of showing you what he's done. And you know, you have the beautiful, I mean, come on, beautiful grapes in the back. I mean, they almost look clear, like you can see right through them. They almost look real. It's just so stunning. But I like that this kind of feels more traditional to me, so I'm going with this one. Oh, I keep doing that. So we have our 8 of coins. You know, we have our cobbler here looking at assessing the damage to the shoe and how he's going to fix it, and we have our woman here about to create something. And I feel like this one depicts that a little bit more for me, because she's got all of her tools and she's in the zone perfecting her craft. He hasn't yet done it yet. He's assessing the situation and she's in the middle of it. So I'm going with this 8 of coins. Again, Taroko Studios, come on. 9 of coins. Look at this beautiful image. I mean, I like this one too. You have the bird, and it definitely feels abundant to me, but look at the fur. Look at how relaxed she is. Look at look at the landscape. I mean, if that doesn't say opulence to me, I don't know. But I love her, the coloration of the card, and more so than the fabric of her dress. So I'm going to go with this one. 10 of coins. This one feels like a yard sale to me. It feels like, you know, they've developed their home, their estate, and now that it's being sold to the highest bidder. But this one feels like, you know, there's more of a handing down to the next generation, and they definitely do feel very rich, and that's kind of like very pentacle, you know, resources feeling to me. So I'm going to go with this 10 of coins. We have our Princess of Coins. If I could give this a point, I would, because it's freaking stunning. Stunning. But I can't, because it wouldn't be fair. So our Page of Coins, this is the one that doesn't look like the rest. One of these things, you know, just doesn't look like the others. He doesn't look like the same boy as the other suits. So here we have our Page of Coins, and he's in almost like in a closet, filled with books, studying and, you know, developing his knowledge so that he can go out into the world and make his living and build his dream. So I'm going with this page. And our Knight of Coins. I like this one. This one feels more charging to me, with the staff there and the sword, and he has a sword too, but it's a little bit more subdued, which kind of gives off that feeling of, you know, steady movement forward in progress, regardless of the storm in the background. And I guess this one has it too, but I'm gonna go with this one. This horse too kind of has a crazy eyeball. So, all right, Queen of Coins. Lovely, both are lovely, but I'm gonna go with her because she's got all of that growth around her in the window. So here's our Queen, going with her. And our King, I'm gonna go with him. He has that growth, so he's hearkening back to the abundance that the Queen has achieved, and, you know, his past, and possibly even some Empress vibes there. But he's definitely, he's reached the top, the pinnacle of his life. So this King. So I am going to separate out all of the aces, and I will be back and I'll show you, and we'll have our final tally. And we're back. So here are our ace comparisons. So we have our Ace of Swords, Ace of Swords, Ace of Wands, Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups, Ace of Cups and Ace of Coins and Ace of Coins. So as you can see, they definitely have a different feel. I can see these being more ace-like, but I guess I don't like connect with them so much aesthetically as opposed to this. This feels more warm, feels open, it feels with the wings and the cherubs. I know they are throughout the deck, but I kind of feel like it fits with the feeling of the deck. So here's our final tally. For the standard revival art, we have 39 wins. And for our revival art second edition, we have 40 wins. So I guess you could say the second edition wins, but it's so close. I just had to have them both. I love them both. I will be using them both probably together for a variety of readings. I have some beautiful angel decks that I will be using to accompany this style of art. They're just stunning. I highly recommend these decks both, depending on which one you like more. If you have to, choose, they have their own studio website as well as their Etsy website, so you decide which one you want to purchase from if you like, and I will be leaving links for both of these decks in the description box below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I know I have been kind of MIA a little bit, but I do try to put out deck reviews and just some commentary when I can. It's been quite crazy with remote learning. So enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye.